Hello, sir. Good evening.
Hey, hi, Ray. Good evening.
Hello.
Atya. Hi, Hasini. Good evening.
Hi.
One more joining. So give me 2 seconds. Yeah, I think most of you have joined. Yeah, hi, Anita. Good evening. So, hi, La. Hasini, maybe after the class, right? We will resolve your issue. Okay.
Okay.
You just share me your screen and then we'll find it out. Fine. So let's see what's there for today. And I'm going to share my screen. Okay. So before proceeding further, right, I want to understand from you, like, are you guys practicing or not? So Hasini, I think she's struck at starting each service. So Hasini, if you're not able to use the RESTful service, right, you can use the main function. Right, Java main function like this. Use public static main function, and then you can learn on whatever you want to do. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe later we'll fix your problem. Okay. So Anita, I want Anita also to practice. Anita, you try to find some time. See at least on weekends. So try to resolve it. If you start doing that, then you'll come to know most of the things. Okay.
Definitely, Gopal, because I will start doing the coding this weekend. Then I will update you on Monday's class.
Yeah.
Definitely,
Correct.
sure.
So when you start, right, you'll come to know a lot of other things also. Like basics are very important. So means whatever we do now, right? So maybe all these things, but whatever you don't know, you try to work on those. Okay. Take one use case. Take one simple use case, file handling, or we started the RESTful service, right? You see here, this is the RESTful service. So we started with empty class. Actually, there were no class at all. There were no controllers at all, right? There were no controller, there were no service at all. So you can refer to the second class onwards. Second, I think third class, I think. So from third or fourth class, I started explaining the RESTful, how to implement the RESTful service. So that is very important for you, Anita. So
Okay.
From bringing from empty, actually, there is no class at all, and we built one by one.
Definitely, I will try to practice during this weekend. Then I will update you on Monday.
Okay. Yeah. So after controllers, we are implementing the services, and then here, right, we just have to plug the database part. So currently we are not using the database part, so that's why we are stopping up to service only. Okay. So Advay was asking actually to how to how to connect to the database and all, right? Last few classes back you were telling. So that comes here actually, DAO layer. So we are up to service layer. So that would be a separate sessions actually. So I'll update you on that part. So talking to the database needs a new framework actually, which is like Hibernate or JPA or iBatis. There is a new framework, so which talks to the database. So in olden days, we used to write a lot of SQL statements, select star from employee table like that. So now we no need to write any queries. So the program has made intelligent so that it will generate the query during runtime. So that part, anyways, we will not be looking into this course. So I'll explain the basics in this class. Okay, let's check the slides. So as usual, our the second slide. So Anita, first question for you. So explain a difference between string buffer, and Spring Builder class.
A string is immutable. String buffer and string builder mutable. String buffer for thread shape we are using. We can use the synchronized keyword.
Yeah, string buffer is for is used only when we need a thread safe.
When
Okay.
we need a thread.
Yeah, because one after the other, right? One thread after the other, right? So string buffer will be used in thread safe environments.
String builder for multi-threading purpose.
Non-synchronous, yeah. Like, multi-threading environment, we go with string builders. Okay, and string is a final. String is declared as a final class. So
Final
once we
class,
declare a value,
we
we
cannot
cannot
change.
And which one of these three uses the string pool in the JVM heap memory?
String.
Correct. String will use the string pool. So the JVM will help create the strings that we declare in the Java heap memory. Yeah, the string pool will be created in the Java heap memory, and all these constants will be created inside the string pool. Okay. So string buffer and string builder are classes actually. So it's like, we use new keyword. So to create the class, can anyone explain, like, can we create the string object in the same way like string buffer and string builder using new keyword?
Yeah.
Give an example. How?
Like we need to write the similar pattern, but we need to write string, then custom name equal to, then new keyword, and the string string with parentheses, and we need to put double quotes, then
Yeah,
and the text inside.
correct. It will be same like string buffer and string builder. Okay, so fine. So now let's go to the second one. Second one is to Hasni.
The superclass in Java is object class.
Perfect. You remember right now?
Yeah.
You understood, right? So object is the superclass in all, in the entire Java community. Okay. So next one goes to Advai.
All errors and exception are subclasses of exception.
No. So you see errors and exceptions. Errors and exceptions, right?
Throwable.
Perfect. Throwable is the right word. So let me show you the previous class slides. Okay, you see here, this is an exception hierarchy. We call the whole, this image is called as the exceptions hierarchy. So hierarchy is nothing but, the topmost superclass is object, right? So below that object, we have the throwable class. This is a hierarchy actually, throwable is just below the object. And below this throwable, we have two different errors actually. One is error and another one is exception class. So two things are there. So errors, again, we have multiple errors. So which are like, out of memory error, stack overflow, and then linkage error, something like this. And exceptions, we focus more on this exceptions because this one is in our control actually. So we can easily change or handle these exceptions during runtime or compile time in our program. Okay, so we can control in our programs. What is that exception? Runtime exception, IO exceptions, illegal, index out of bounds, file not found, number format. So many exceptions are there. So now you understood what is the this part is quite important. Like, Anita, this is like interview question. They may ask, like, can you explain the exceptions hierarchy? So when you get a question like this, so you just have to be focus more on this part. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 levels you focus. First level, second level, third level, fourth level. So these 4 levels you just try to understand better. Okay. So superclass is object, and then below that there will be a throwable, and then throwable will have two different classes. One is error and exception, and these two will have multiple exceptions like this. So now you understood, Advai?
Yeah.
Okay, now let's go back to the to our own slide. Okay. So all errors and exceptions are subclasses of throwable class.
Throwable.
Good. So next one goes to Anita. The exceptions are of two types.
Checked
are they?
exception and checked exceptions.
Correct. Checked exception and unchecked exceptions. Correct. So what is the main difference between checked and unchecked?
Okay. Checked exception we can handle it in the compile time.
Right.
Or is
Checked.
it
Correct. Checked exceptions are nothing but the program.
compile time exception.
Correct.
Isn't it?
Compile time means the program will not compile. It will just highlight it in red color like this. If I comment, okay, if I comment out this part, see whenever you see an error like this, right, the red color line under the line. So this is compile time, means the program cannot be compiled at all. So that's why this is a compile time error. So compile time errors are nothing but checked exceptions. Okay, file not found is a checked exception. Okay, unchecked means we don't know
Runtime
when it is
exception.
correct. Unchecked means we don't know when it is going to appear. So
So null
that's why-
pointer exception also runtime
Runtime.
exception.
Right, correct. So if you get any doubt like that, right, Anita, what you can do is just type null pointer exception in your program and then control click on that. So you see when you control click, you see where,
Okay, runtime exception. Okay.
yeah, it extends to runtime exception. So that's how you'll come to know, okay, null pointer exception is a runtime exception. So now you understood this. And then file not found, right? I click on this. You see it is
IO
not found extends to IO exception. If I click on this further, it extends to exception. So it is not extending to runtime or anything. So
Okay.
that's why this is a compile time exception. Okay.
Mm.
So now you guys know, right, how to see like what kind of exception is it. So can anybody say arithmetic expression? What type of exception it could be?
When the if something is getting divided by 0.
Yeah, correct. Some kind of numerical errors or some kind of arithmetic errors, right? Will
So
be
the
handled
known
in
exception also called as a checked exception, isn't it?
repeat again, Anita.
The known exception, if we write the program, then we can know this one maybe throw the error.
Right. Correct.
Okay.
So that is a checked exception. So like in this case, right, you see here, this file, we don't know whether this is existing or not, right? So means the chances are like, this function, okay. So chances like, the sum of the statements like, this file may not be present, right? When you try to, do some operations on the file, it says like, file not present. So file not found. So file not found means it is a possibility actually, right?
Yeah.
Possibility. So when that possibility is there, you throw the compile time errors like that. Means, we will come to know, yes, if file not found, what I should do. Then, we will alert like, alert the respective teams. So this would be acting something like, when there is an incoming files, right, every day at morning 9 a.m. So suddenly, one day there are no files. What you should do? When no files, then you should alert the respective teams to check why the file is not present. So this is a real-time scenario, right, Anita? You might be aware of.
Yes.
So sometimes, the batch jobs, right? So when it is executing, it expects the file. So when the file is not there, it's like, we need to alert to the respect team. So we'll send an email or anything. So sending an email and all, we can write it here in the catch block because it's a file not found exception, right? So this is the real use case, like, when we have to catch the exceptions. We have to catch only when there are specific actions to be taken. Okay. specific actions, or notify the user, or some kind of your real-time use case. So that kind of functionality we can implement it here, like sending an email. Suppose if it is a critical application, right? We send an SMS. So we'll write SMS sending logic here. Okay, like that. So arithmetic expression, if you want to see whether it is a compile time or runtime exception, control click on that. You'll see arithmetic exception is a runtime exception. Correct. It's a runtime exception. So you don't know when it is going to come, because divided by 0, right? If I remove this part, see, it doesn't complain anything here because I did divided by 0, right? If it doesn't complain anything, what does it mean? It is
Runtime.
error. Yeah, like that. We don't know when it is going to come. So when this line of code is executing, then at that point it will generate something like, if I assume that if condition, if I add an if condition here, right? So this if condition may be possible or may not be possible. So I greater than 0. So what I'm doing, only when I greater than 0, I'm calling this. So this I can be passed from anywhere. So for now, I'm just giving it as a 5. So if I put 4, right, this block is never going to get executed, right? Sorry, if I type -4, okay, I is equal to -4, right? So -4 or 0, you see 0, anything you can put. So this condition will fail. When this condition fails, it will not get inside this block. When it doesn't get inside, this block of exception is not going to occur at all, right? Yeah. So the main thing is like, you just have to find the difference, runtime and compile time exception, and then write the exception, catch the exception accordingly. Okay, fine. So the next question, the compile time errors refer to dash type of exception. Hasni, the next 2 questions you answer. Compile time errors refer to dash type of exception.
Unchecked.
No, compile time is checked, right? Compile means you'll come to know. Suppose assume that you are a developer, right? You are a programmer, right? If you are a programmer, I comment out this part and then this part. Now you are a program. See, now assume that I'm a programmer, right? I'm a programmer, and then the program is highlighting. What is it highlighting? Unhandled exception. So it is saying I have to handle it, right? When I have to handle it, it is notifying me. Means the program cannot compile until unless you fix this issue. So you have to fix this. So that's why it is telling us during the compile time itself. So the program cannot be compiled. So during this time only, it is highlighting us, saying that you need to handle this exception. So these are called as checked exception. Okay. So compile time errors refer to checked type of exceptions. So runtime exceptions refer to dash. Hasni, to you.
Unchecked.
Unchecked. Runtime means what? When the program is running, at that time it will generate an exception. Okay. Fine. Compile time is like during while we write the program, at that time itself we'll come to know what kind of exception it may throw. Okay. You understood the basic difference, right, Hasni? Compile time and runtime.
Yes.
Yeah, just start adapting to this new terminology. Okay, all these terms are new to all of you, most of you. So if you are unfamiliar, right, you just read out the statements multiple times, you'll get familiar. So Aditya, is your audio fixed? Still an issue?
Yes, sir. It's better now. It's better now.
Okay, fine. So you're right. You're practicing, right? Because I didn't hear you from last 2 weeks actually. So I wanted
Yes,
to
sir.
know.
I'm actually referring to. I'm actually not staying at home much, sir. I have to go to camp every day. So.
Oh, okay, fine, understood. So do you get any time during weekends or something like that?
Yes, sir. I'm actually coming home only weekends. So that's why I.
Okay, fine, yeah. But you just keep a touch of it, okay? Don't leave this program.
Yes, sir. I'm keeping the recordings with me. So whenever I get time, I will.
Yeah. Sure. Okay, fine. Thanks.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So next one to Advait.
The dash are the keywords used for exception handling mechanism in Java. The try, catch, finally, throw, throws.
Correct. Throw and throws. Correct. Perfectly right. So next one. Anita, next one.
Try block must be followed by either catch or finally block.
Correct. Either catch or finally block. So try and finally is also okay. Try and catch is also okay. And try can also be followed by both try, catch, and finally. So all these three combinations are okay. Now, Hasni, next two questions to you. Hasni. How many catch blocks can we write in an exception handling while handling exception? Okay, Advai, can tell on the next one question.
As many.
Yeah, we can write as many catch blocks. Okay. Now, how about finally?
One.
Only one. So finally block will always be one. Catch can be many. Okay, fine. So the revision part is done. Hope you understood some basics here. Now let's jump into the.
Gopal, I have one doubt here.
Yes,
The
Sanita.
finally block will be executed even try catch block executed or not. Correct, right?
Try catch block must be, will be executed. Correct. Correct, Anita.
Finally, always the finally block will be executed.
Correct. Finally is like, if it enters into the try block, it means that, finally must and should get executed at the end of the try block or catch block. So that's what we saw, right? That's what we saw in the previous class. You see here, where is it? We did try catch. Where is the try catch? Okay. Yeah,
You
here.
know, if there is any exception captured, then finally block will be executed.
Okay. You see here, this is a finally block. So finally block is here. And you see here, we are getting an exception in this place. Okay, I'll make it as 5. It enters 5, and then here the arithmetic exception is thrown, right? So it goes here. When it goes here, arithmetic expression, this logic would be completed. After this, it will go to finally. Yeah. So if you're getting any doubts, right, you just add this out. So I just write 1. So 1 here. Sorry. Yeah, this part you can add it here and before also. Okay. Inside also you add. So this one will be 2, 2, 2, 1, 1, 1, and this one will be 3, 3, 3. So means after this you cannot. Yeah, it will come. It will throw in show and compile time exception. Sorry, error, which is like an unreachable statement because throws. So it will always enter here, right? So when it enters here, this line will not be executed at all. Fine. So here you can mention like 4, 4, 4. And here you mention 5, 5, 5. And here you mention 6, 6, 6. And then after finally, you mention 7, 7, 7. So usually developers, right, we do all these kind of, tweaking to understand the program because most of the developers, right, they don't know 100% of the programming language. So while doing the program, we learn also. We will learn. So let's run this program. So I'm going to run this program and see how these statements are printed on the console. So you can see like, which line of statement is excluded. Okay, let's go here up to here only, right? So let's see. 111 is printed. 111 is where? So before starting, so it enters actually. The file is not existing, right? So it enters here. This line is executed. And then 222. 222 is inside I greater than 0. I is 5, right? So 5 is greater than 0, and hence it prints this one. And next is 555. So 333 did not print because the exception is thrown here, right? So the exception is thrown here. That's why it directly went into arithmetic exception here. It directly went inside, correct. It did not go to this one also. It did not check this part because it will directly match to arithmetic exception, which is here. And then it printed 555. Okay. And then after that 555, it throws and we are printing the stack trace, right? So it prints stack trace here. Okay. And then after printing the stack trace, then you see 666 is printed. 666 is where here after catch block, it executed finally block. Okay, so finally block is executed here, 666, and then this is the finally block. So you can see this is the finally block. Okay, and then after that, what it executed? It executed
777.
So after finally, again there is a statement here, right? So it will be executed. Okay, I think you understood, right, Anita?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Now, yeah, today we learn about the switch statement. Okay, switch statement is similar to if else if. We have if the condition is satisfied, it enters into that. Otherwise, it will go to else block. Otherwise, if we have any else if, right, it will check again one more condition. So this is same like if else if condition. Okay, this is also one way of advantage provided to the developer. So in case like if we don't want to use if else if statements, then we'll go with switch blocks like this. So it will give a decent view of our code also. So sometimes you can have if else like 100 line of statement, right? So instead of that, we'll just write the switch statement. So let's take an example. Okay, before doing that, I want to explain it here. One more additional item. So being a good programmer, right, what we do is common function. I want to write a switch statement in a common function. So common function, I don't have a package here, right? So what I will do, I'm going to create a package first. So the package name, what I will do is I will do it as util package. Util is the package which contains all the common utility functions. Okay, so I'll create the package, enter. So now the util package is ready. Inside this, I'm going to add a constant class. Okay, or you can give any interface also. Okay, fine. So anything, that's up to you. So I'm going to name this class as constant. So throughout this application, if I want to have, if I want to refer back to constants, right? So I'll refer from this file. So all the constants, I'll write it in a single file. Okay, now constants is ready. Constants class is ready. So how do we declare the constants? Using public. So public is like, outside the package also I need to have access, right? So that's why I declare it as public. I want to refer it using the class name. So I'll make it as public static final. So which is final actually, or you can use public final static also. Okay. So anything you can use it. So final, and then the name of the parameter. So param underscore 1. So I give some default values like this, and this one should be of type int, right? So after this, why it is showing red color here?
Semicolon.
Perfect. So we'll give semicolon. So now I will duplicate this, some common constants. Okay, now grade underscore 1. So grade 1, grade 2, like this. So let's take only 3. Okay, now these are all constants for grades: first grade, second grade, third grade. So the values also we need to change, right? second grade, and then third grade. Okay. Now, after this is a common constants. Now, this file is used only for common constants only. So as soon as you declare the class, you need to write the documentation.
Documentation form.
So I'm just writing constant, some meaningful documentation. Okay. So you can write any name like this, and that's it. So here, to help the developer, right, what kind of constants are these? So I just give a simple comments only, single line comment. So if you have other constants like grades, and then constants for each category, something like this. So for the age category also, I'll just use it as param child. So for children, I'll declare it as 1, and then teen, middle, then elders. So elder category, something like this. So this is how we actually know in the real time, right? We do this. So now you see we have two sets of constants. So whenever I want to, throughout my applications, whenever I want to refer to a child with the child, right? So I use this parameter only. Okay, this parameter from constants. So I can, if the value gets changed in the future, right, I can come here and change the value here itself. So it will apply throughout the application. Okay, fine. So I declared the constants class here, define it, and then I want to have one more class. So which is utility. So what I do, all common util functions, I will write it here. All common util. So I'll just, yeah, this is like, again, I have to add the documentation comments, right? This class is for common functions to be used across. Something like this, okay? And I'll just give some idea, real-time idea also. Now I got the class. So for anything, right, in Java, you just have to make use of class here, okay? Write the public class, then make it. So this is across the application, right? Across the application means it can be used in this controller, service, or util. So then you have to declare it as a public only. Suppose if you want to use this common util only within this util package, right?
Then we can no need to put any access modifier.
Correct. So either you can use, yeah, no need to mention anything. So fine. So something like that, you need to understand that. Okay. Now, after this, I want to, yeah, what we are learning about the switch statement, right? So switch statement. So let's, it's a decision making statement similar to if else. So what I do, I'll write a method here. Okay. What method? Public, and this method will return me string or anything. Okay, this one will return me string, and then check which grade actually. Okay, check grade by type. So ideally for the naming conventions of the function I already explained, right? So the first letter is small case, and the next word would be having the camel case like this. The first letter will be capital. Okay, based on this. So here I will put it as type. So based on, now what does this function represents? So what I'm trying to do in this function is, this function will check what type is this. Based on this type, it will return the respective value. Okay, so let's see. So now type, right? So the general syntax for the switch statement goes like this. I'll minimize this part. You see, switch all in small case. You see here how many keywords are there? Switch, case, break. case, break, default. So you can see 3 here, 4. So there are around 4 new keywords that you are learning with this. Okay. So switch followed by a space and then parenthesis, you'll write an expression. So expression can be of type what? Type byte. It can hold the short, it can hold int, long, enum, and string. So string has been introduced on Java later versions actually. So anyways, it will apply. So the older versions anyways we are not using. So by default, we can include string also now. Fine. So the
What
expression
is enum?
enum we'll learn about this later. It's like a constant. So here we are using the constant, right? So instead of this, we can have enum type also, enumerated. We say it as enumerated. That part, you may get confused now if I start explaining. So that part we'll see if I can explain in the next few classes. Okay, remind me, Advait. I'll make a note of it also.
Yes.
So enum, I'll try to see if I can explain in the next or on another class. Okay. So for now, we'll just focus on this switch statement. So the syntax goes like this. Okay. Switch space and then open parenthesis and close parenthesis and followed, inside that it will be an expression. So what will this expression represent? So the expression type would be something like this. You read out the second statement. The expression can be of type. It can be byte, it can be short, it can be int, type, long, enum, and string. Okay. Now, after this, we'll open the brackets, actually, flower braces. And within that flower braces, we see case 1, case 2, case 3. So case 1, you see here 1, 2 is there, right? So these are all the, what do these two things represent? These are all the literals or constants. You see where I have written that the case value must be literal or constant. So 1 is a number, right? 1 is an int. It can be a byte, it can be a short, it can be int, it can be long. So we can represent it like this: case and then literal or constant followed by colon. So after this colon, you have to give the implementation of when this expression, the expression matches this case, then this block of statement would be executed. So after this execution, you must write break statement. Means you should break from here. If you don't break, it will go to next statement also. And then it will process this. And then wherever it sees break, at that point, it will come out of this block. And then suppose any of these cases are not matched, right? It will get inside this default. Okay, inside default, you can add break also. So it will come out. So it is like, it is like if condition here. Switch is like if condition. If this condition is matched, then this case is like else if, something like that. Okay. So you see some rules here. I'm writing some rules here. Let me read out. So it is a decision making statement. Decision making is like expression can have 1 or 2 or 3. So it depends on that. That is a decision making. And then the expression can be, so this expression, as I already told, it can be byte, short, int, long. So you try to remember this, okay? Case, the expression can have the byte type or short type or int type or long type or enum or string. Now, you may think about this also. Like if you have a requirement, so switch statement can be nested. So nested means what? Hasni?
Switch inside.
Wait. Let me ask Hasni. Hasni, what do you mean by nested? Hasni, are you there? Hasni?
Yes.
Yeah. What do you mean by nested?
Like stored inside. Please.
Yes. So nested is like, the block inside its own block. Like if within the if condition, you can add one more if condition. So within that if condition, again, you can add one more if condition like that. Yes. Advait, you can tell now. What do you mean by switch statement can be nested?
Yeah, the switch statement can be nested, means like they can be a switch inside switch and it can continue on.
Continue, correct, perfect. So perfectly right. And the next statement is there can be one or n number of case values. So cases, how many cases can we have? It can have any number, right? So that's why we just mentioned one or any number of case. Then the case value must be literal or constant. Literal is nothing but enum types, or you can use the string also. So string literals. So you can use that. And the case values must be unique. Means what? What do you understand by this?
Means the literal and constant should not be same.
Correct. So if you see the second line, it has case 1 and case 2, right? So in the second case statement, if you again write case 1, it throws compile time error. Okay. Fine. So break keyword is used to break the program execution further. So break means it will, if you don't specify break, right, it will go inside this case 2 and then it will start processing this. So if you want to break this particular condition of a particular case statement, you have to write a break statement at the end of the case. Okay, then the program will come out of this case. It will not go and then check further case or default implementations. Okay, it is to break the program from this place.
Does the
So,
default keyword act as the else?
default is else, yeah, correct. If none of the case statements are executed, right, so it will go inside this default. So default is nothing but else block. If no condition matches, it goes to the else, right? So it is similar to that. Fine. So correct. So this one more point here. Break is there, right? You can use this break in for loop also and in while loop also to break the
Do
program
while.
execution. Yeah. So you can exit from the for loop. Okay. If if you're writing a program to print numbers 1 to 10, and when you encounter 5, you want to exit from the program, you can use if I is equal to 5, then add this break statement. It will come out. Okay, I'll explain that part also. Let's see here in the program if I can explain that. Okay, now let's see the expression here. Okay, this is the expression. Switch statement contains open bracket and close parenthesis, and then which has got type, and then open flower brackets here. Okay, open and close, and then you see case. So here in this place, right, so you can mention if 1, what you wanted to do, break, semicolon. Okay, case 2, break. Now case 3, break, and then default. So default also break. So here we'll see S out. So in this I will just write 111. Okay. So just to make you understand this, I'm just printing some default values here. Okay, now, so I'm writing the function. You see, I don't have main method here. I'm just writing a function here. Okay. So now switch statement is done, and then this
Return
function, yeah, this
Yes.
function needs a return of type string, right?
Because
So
void is not written.
correct. So void, you no need to return anything when it is a string return type, right? So the second the second one is the string. So this represents what this function should return. So this function should return string. So I'm going to write a string here as a result. So result is string. I'll just make it as empty. Okay, when it is empty, so you can make it as empty or you can make it as null. Anything is okay. So I'll just make it null here, and then here I will assign it to result is equal to constants. So what is there in the constants? We have certain constants, right? So constants, all the variables inside the constants are declared as static, right? So when they are declared as static, you can call them only with class names. Okay, so constants, we have to add dot. Okay, when you add dot, you can see grade 1. So you are returning grade
I
1.
don't think you
Tell me why.
imported the constant.
Tell me why it is returning. Why it is throwing a compile time error here.
Because the result is int.
Perfect, because the result is of type string, right? Whereas if you see in this program, it is an int, right? So either you change this one or change there. So you can do this way also, like, you can select this, add double quotes here. So here, this one is no grade. So no grade means what? -1. Assume that I'm sending -1. Now you go back here. This is common util, right? You go back. So the error is gone. You see, because you want it. Other way is like, you can do multiple ways actually. So I don't want to change the common constants because these constants might already be used by someone, right?
String or toString.
Yeah. So what I do here is, so I just want to use whatever it was existing, right? So I'll just use it as -1. Now you see, these are all having the int constants. So in my function, I'm going to convert this one. So what is this type? This type is int, right? So how
String
can I
or
convert?
toString.
No, I'll tell you. Convert int to string. So how to convert? String has got a wonderful function. You have to use string. String is the string dot value of. Okay, value of, and then you just close this one. That's it. So means, you're not changing the constants. So the constants we are not touching. Okay, because if two programs are using the same parameter, right, then you may have to change at two places, right? So instead, what I do, I'll just make use of these constants only, and then in my program, I'm converting it to string type using string dot value of function. Okay, so what is this string?
The string class.
String class. So using the class, we are using the value of function, right? So what will be the what will be the access modifier for this value of? What type is it? We are using no, not access modifier. I'm just talking about the type actually.
Static.
Correct. So because we are using based on the class name, right? So we are using the class name dot. So let's see whether this value of is a static or not. Because you see, this is a variable, and this variable we are using with the class name, right? So constants is the class name, right? Constants is the class name, and dot this parameter. When you want to use class name dot, the variable name, it must be static. Okay, so that's why we are making use of class name dot variable. So similarly, value of is a function that is available in string class. Let's see if this is a static or not. Just go inside, control click, and then it is a static. You see, so value of is a static class, and then static type. So we are using with the help of the string class. Okay, similarly, so I don't want to type everything. So what I do, I'll just copy paste. So here, and then here also I will close. So now this one is grade 1. So when it is type 1, it should be grade 1, and then here 2 means grade 2, and here it is 3 means grade 3, and then default means -1, right? So here I'll make it as no grade. Okay, so you can do like this. Now assume that this is a constant, right? This is a constant. So assume that if it is 101 and then 102 and then 103. This is my code actually, my program's code actually. You see here, duplicate label. So I mentioned in the sheet also, right? Where is that? Unique. The case values must be unique. So that's why these two are having the same value. So it's not accepting. So I have to give different one. So now in this case, the type we must follow to this function with the value as 101, 102, 103. So 10 is somebody's constants actually, like so if this function gets the value as 101, it returns grade 1, something like that. Or you can just make use of some kind of the codes actually. We can name this 101 as codes actually. Code sorry, code value for grades. Okay, so 101 is one code, 102 is another code, 103 is another code. When we get this, we just want to return it grade 1, grade 2, grade 3 based on the code value that is passed. Fine. So this is a function which we have written. Okay, and still the function is showing red color here. Why?
No return statement.
No return statement. So after this switch statement, we have assigned the value to result, right? So this result must be returned. So I return the value. Okay. Now this function is done. The function is done. So the function is done means we need to have the documentation. Okay. This function returns the grade based on the value code passed based on the type of code passed. So based on the type of the code that is passed. So something like this. Okay, and type is the parameter, right? So you can just mention is the code, return the grade, something return the grade, or result, return the result. And now this gives, like when somebody refers to this, right? So then they will come to know what this function actually does. Okay, now this part is done. Now let's see where we can use this one. So how we can use now? I'll exactly create a controller for this. Let's take a controller. So string operations controller, right? So we'll make grades controller. Okay, so inside this grades controller, what I do, I just get, okay, this is grade, and then I'll take out all the other functions. You see, this is what we do every day. Okay, and this function, just I write some dummy statements here. Okay, fine, and then this one will be string. Okay, this one will be int. I pass the value as type, and then this is a required, right? So I'll just make it as type, and then create by type. So whatever value the type has, right? So based on that. So let's see the URL. Create by type, and then this one has to be updated here. And then here I don't do anything. Okay. So let's call that function. Okay. So this is a common function, right? Common util function. So we have to call this common util inside this grades controller. How can we call? Can anybody say?
With the class name dot the
Okay.
method.
Correct. Here we don't use the dot here because the function that is in the common util, right, is not the static here, right? So I have declared without static. Without static means how can we call?
Oh yeah.
We need to create an object.
Correct.
Yeah.
Perfectly right. So common util cu. So how to create an object is equal
It's
to?
equal to new common util.
Correct. You see, I created a common util and cu dot. Using the object, you have to get it. So now you see this type, I will pass it to this function. Okay. That's it. This, and you see here what this function returns. It returns the string, right? So
Yeah.
let's introduce a variable for that. So this is the result. And this result I'm going to pass it here. The grade retrieved based on the code that is passed is. So this is how we give the proper message. Okay. Now you see. So how to format the whole program? Format the code actually. Format the code because you see here there will be unknown. Okay, here we don't have unknown. I already pressed. So Control Alt
Control
is for organizing the imports. Control Alt is the formatting the code. So now I formatted this code. Yeah, our endpoint is ready now. So endpoint is ready, and this endpoint is going to create an instance of this class, common util class, which is cu, and cu is the object, right? So using this cu, I'm going to call the function that is available inside this common util. And if you want to go to that function, control click on this, it will take you to the respective function. And inside this function, we are again using the another class which is constants, and the variable param grade 1. So the param grade 1 is of static, right? So we should call using the class name. So using the class name we are calling. Now that's it. Yeah, the function is written, and then this function has been declared, and then created an instance in the controller, and using the object we are calling that function, and we got the result here. And this result we will format it in a proper way here. Okay, so the grade retrieved based on the code that is passed is. So based on that we'll get the result here. Okay, fine. Now let's start this. Yeah, before starting, I want to show in the next slide also. So here you see the switch expression also. Oh, fine. Yeah, we are in this page, right? So switch expression, case 1, case 2, case 3. Yeah, fine. No need to explain this part. So you already aware of this. So if you want more information, you just see here actually. It's a visual understanding. You can understand easily. Now let's go to this next slide. Yeah, I wanted to explain debugging using IntelliJ. How do you debug the code? Because I have written code now, right? I did not check whether my program works or not, right? So first time itself I'm trying. So if I write my program and then try to see what errors are there. So you have to use debug actually. So the debug is here. You see here debug test. So you can click this one because this is a server, right? So if this is server means microservice. When microservice means it is listening on certain port. When it is listening on certain port, we call it as a server. So when it is like, server, right, you have to use this debug. Suppose if it is not a server, and if it is normal function, okay, normal function like this, you see here main method, right? So if it is a main method, what you can do, you can just right click and then debug here. Instead of run, right, you do the debug here. So both things will work actually, okay? So now this is our math service application. So I'll select that and then click on this debug. So I want to explain the debug also. That's why, I'll start habituating this part to you. Okay, let us wait until the server gets started. So no active profile set. So started the math application. So application is started now. We don't want this, we don't want this, constant skip it, grades controller. Okay, this one we don't need. Okay, so grades controller.
So in the debugger mode, it debugs as well as runs the.
Okay, so debugger, why do we need debugger? It is like line by line execution. Suppose you want to execute this line, you will come here and then put a breakpoint. So let me explain the next slide also, you'll come to know. Debugging is very useful tool for programmers. So like, we are the programmers, right? So debugging is very useful to us. What does it help? It helps us to find the issues in the program. So if there are any issues, right, we call it as bugs actually, bugs. So bugs in the program or issues in the program. So to find those bugs or issues, we will use the debugging tool. Okay. And what is the debugging tool? So you see here the left side window, right? When you start it in debug mode, you can see the debug window here. So this debug window is the tool that is used for developers or programmers. So what do we have to look at it? Means you have to use some proper proper commands actually. So what are those commands? The commands are F7, F8, F9. These are all shortcut keys to actually use the debug statements. So let's see here. We have already started in debug mode. I'm going to put a breakpoint. We need a breakpoint here, key points. Add breakpoints in the program to stop the execution at that line of code. So if you add the breakpoint, the program comes and stops there. And then it will wait for your actions to perform. So the actions can be performed using the shortcut keys F7, F8, or F9. Okay, I'll explain these things in the in the demonstration, during the demonstration. Okay, now fine. So we call it breakpoints, right? So how do you create the breakpoints? So you see the line number here, right? Just beside the line, you just click with your mouse. Just click with your mouse. It will show the red color or red color dot here. Or you can use right click or right click. So yeah, I think here it's not. No, here it's not showing up. Okay, so you just click on click here.
So right click, there is a set breakpoint.
Yeah, it depends on some IntelliJ to IntelliJ versions. It differs
So
actually.
the second one, set breakpoint.
No, it's a bookmark actually.
Oh, sorts of.
It's not this actually. So I'll just click right control click. Sorry, mouse click here, and then I want to stop the program execution here and see further what it is doing. Okay, now I put this breakpoint here, and then once you put the breakpoint, it will become slightly brown color here. You can see the difference, right? So I'll go inside this function and I'll put a breakpoint here to see how the line of execution goes here. Or you no need to put here also, but I will show you how to do that. Okay, let's go to Chrome browser and http://localhost 8090/API/ what is the class level mapping? API/grade, API/grade. Okay, after that,
Grade by type.
grade by type. Okay, grade by type. And then the parameter is type, right? So I'll put a question mark. Type is equal to 101. I'll press enter. See, nothing is happening. It's not displaying anything. It will just say, you can see in the top left corner, it is processing, right? Now you have to go to your program. It is waiting for you. You see the blue color highlighted line, right? It is waiting for you to process this line of code execution. So it is waiting at this place where the breakpoint is, added. So now let's see. So this breakpoint, you can see the shortcuts here. 1, 2, 3. So these 4 shortcuts are there, right? You just remember this. Mostly we will use this one, step over. Step over means line by line execution. So this will execute and the next line will execute. And then you see this one, the step into. Suppose if it is a function, right, it gets inside that function. New common util is there, right? So it will get inside that function. And then if there is a breakpoint, it will wait there. Okay, now let's see. We haven't put any breakpoints in the check grade, right? So here I will type F8, which is this one. So it goes to next line. So now you see, CU is a variable, is an object of type common util, and it is the reference. You see 5978 is the reference. So common util at this location, it means that. Okay. Now CU, and then here we already used F8, right? So now there is a function here. So I want to see what this function is doing inside. In that case, what I do, I go inside, step into F7. So I click this one, step into, or shortcut key F7. Click on that, it directly goes inside that function and waits at the first line. Okay, now it came here, right? Now from here, I don't want to directly execute all the statements. So I'll still go one by one, okay? So what I do, I'll use this one, go here, and then you have to see what is the value that is passed from the UI. So what is the value? How can you see? Just mouse over on it. IntelliJ will help you. Mouse over on it. IntelliJ will say the value of this type is 101. Or you just select it and then right click and then evaluate expression. So this one also you can do. So this is the window. Just type whatever variable you have, right? You just enter this value variables here and click on evaluate. It shows the value that it is holding. Okay. So if you have many statements, right, like this, type is equal to type plus 1, something like some kind of expressions also you can do. So you can see now type has become 102, like that. Okay. So the value we have changed, right? So it became type is now 102. Earlier it was 101. Now I evaluated, right? So it became 102. So again I'll change it back. Type -1. So now it became 101. So you see the value of type now is 101. And then let's see which block it's going to enter. So it goes to this case statement and then gets inside. And then you see, so the constants is 1, right? So the 1 will be converted to type string. And then now you see it is of result is of type 1. So the result is holding the value 1, which is in string format. You see double quotes here. Double quotes is nothing but string. Click here and that's it. It doesn't enter into the other things because the break statement is there. So when it is, when it encounters break statement, it will exit from the switch block and then it directly went into the next line. So the next line is result is returning the 1, and you can go here. So when you click that, this is the place where it entered, right? So it comes back to that same place. And then now you see program is returning certain response. Let's fully process. So how will you fully process it? You can use this one. So run to cursor, not this one. You use this part. What is this? Resume program F9. So I don't want to run any breakpoints, right? If you don't want to run any breakpoints, I'll tell you that after this. So I'll just click on run. Means, all the further statements don't look, just proceed to until the next breakpoint is encountered. So this does that. So now I already processed it. Let's see the response on the browser. See, the grade retrieved based on the code that is passed is 1. So if I pass the code as 102, let's see what kind of grade does it send. So here I don't want to see again, all the statements, right? I just use this one, resume program. So it will process all the statements and you'll get the response here. Now you see, I don't want to wait because my program, I'm sure now, like, the program is getting executed without any errors. So what I do, I don't want any breakpoints to test. So what I do is I just have to use this disable breakpoints. You see here, mute breakpoints. Means when you click on this, the breakpoint is still there, but it will not be active. It is in disable state. So I can straight away go here, change the value, press enter, you can see the response. So other than this, if I enter some value, it will become -1. Suppose assume that here we will write Advay. So Advay is not identified. You tell me why?
Because it accepted int, not string.
Correct. You see here what type we have written here? Int. So Advay is not the number, right? That's why the program will not identify. So if you want it to identify, you just make it as string here. When you make it string, this one will throw error. So you go here, you have to convert it to string like this. So when you make it string, again this case block should be in double quotes, right?
Yeah.
So it should be in double quotes. So it should be in something like this. Okay, I'll just revert back the changes. Okay. Okay, now fine. So intelligent debugging part is done, right? So I wanted to explain this, file reading and file writing also. So this one I'll take it up in the next class, right? So how to read the file, how do we parse the contents of the file. So we'll do more about these things in the in the next class. Most of the Java basics, right, we are done already. So from next class onwards, mostly we'll do the programs like this. What we did just now, right? So this is the real time implementation. I do this every day. So that's why I wanted to give you a feel of how the real-time program looks. So you see, I wrote the controller and then I wrote the common util function and then we have implemented. Right, Anta, we use this regularly, right? Fine. So we are done. We are done with the debugging and then other things. So yeah, this program I'll explain in the next class. And these are programs actually, you write a program to use switch statement instead of if else if. So you choose your own use case and try to build switch statements. Okay. And yeah, reading the file, you try with this screenshot. Okay. And the file contents, you convert it to uppercase. So uppercase, convert the contents of the file into uppercase and print it. Yeah, that's it from my side. So yeah, I think, Hasni, can you connect back? We'll disconnect this one. So you connect back to, so that will resolve your issue. Fine. That's it from my side. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.